Hey y'all, if you are out there, say what's up. Started on time today, mostly on time, I think. Haven't stopped not seeing any comments yet, so say hello once somebody's out there. If you can hear me, also say I can hear you. All right. Hi, Robin. All right, got somebody. Destiny, what's up? Courtney, hey. All right, y'all are here. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Um, so I decided to come on earlier today because I did not want to. Hi, how do you say that? Is it sire? I did not want to obviously, you know, upstage President Obama. Obviously, I cannot compete with President Obama at 5 p.m. Oh, you're not supposed to ask a lady her age, child. Just know that I am auntie age. I am grown and sexy, and I'm in my 30s. Okay, that's all you need to know, Peter. Hey, Jason, Privy, Shayna, Patrice. Hey, all of y'all. All right, so let's talk. The breaking news is that Attorney General Keith Ellison has upgraded the charges um, on the other officers involved with the George Floyd case. That's obviously great news. And the charge against Derek Chauvin, who was the person who was physically executing George Floyd, is being upgraded to second degree murder. I know a lot of people wanted to see first degree murder, but that is a much higher standard of proof. I talked about that a little bit yesterday. So I don't think that people should be overly caught up in the fact that it's second degree murder versus first degree murder, because the reality of it is it's going to be hard no matter what. Hey, Patrice, Privy, Tiffany, Jason, James, I think. Yeah, Jason. Okay. So yeah, you guys post your comments, questions, anything like that, and I'll respond to them. Did I see? So like yesterday, I'm going to pin the questions that I'm responding to, and then I'll just respond to it. You guys can read along. I did not see Twitter taking down white supremacist accounts. Let's see. I think it's very reasonable to kind of expect that justice won't really be served, even with charges being filed. Um, because we haven't seen that. I mean, we've seen so many cases where the cops have been charged, still no guilty verdict, or there might be multiple trials until there is a guilty verdict. I believe Walter Scott was that the Walter Scott case in one of these cities. There's far too many of them. It's so sad how many cases there are. Hey, Malcolm, Emerald, hi. Let's see. Yeah, it's crazy because what we're seeing are these executions. And the crazy part about it, I don't know if you guys are keeping up with some of the news outside of the protests. It's really messed up how the media likes to emphasize the looters or the rioters, but we're not hearing about people being killed by other people during these protests. Like, for instance, I tweeted about this yesterday, and there was a guy down there in Nebraska, and he was killed by a bar owner, and he was immediately exonerated by the DA in that case. And it's like, when it comes to cops killing black people, they want to talk about all of this, oh, we need months and months of investigation, we need grand juries and this, that, and the other. But then when somebody kills a black person, then, you don't have that same standard of proof. It's like, oh, self-defense, nothing to see here, folks. And that was the exact same thing actually that happened in the Ahmaud Arbery case, where they were immediately, the McMichaels were immediately exonerated by the DA for any kind of culpability and murdering Ahmaud Arbery. So it's just crazy how these things are continuing even as we're protesting. Let me see if I can find the name. I don't want to butcher his name. That's why I'm looking for my tweet. What was his name? James Scurlock. That was the guy. That was the black man, young black man in Nebraska that was killed. Then we had David McAtee, who was killed by the cops in Louisville, where there's still no charges for Breonna Taylor. It just seems like it's never ending. I'm gonna pin this question. I think that Amy is trying to do damage control and take credit for these murder charges where she declined in over 2 dozen cases to hold any police officer accountable ever for killing people. And so she has no credibility on this topic. I think that she should have. I understand that it was, tweeted out or it was announced by a Minneapolis newspaper, but I just think that it was just really her trying to take some sort of credit or act like she had some sort of involvement in these charges when obviously she did not. I think that, Black people have to really think about our multi-trillion dollar buying power and what we can do with that buying power to affect change. But it takes a lot of willpower and it takes a lot of coordination, and people have to stick with it until we get the results that we're looking for. Hey, alert and oriented. Hi, Carol. Let's see. Yes, Shane, I agree with you about this. We still do not have any charges in the Breonna Taylor investigation. She was murdered in her home by the police. Still no charges for that. We're starting to see with some of these newer cases like the David McAtee, and I don't know if I'm saying his name right, where they're firing these cops, but that's not the same as a prosecution. So people don't seem to be letting up yet, but I do hope that people still keep the heat on. Drew Brees is a fucking asshole, and this is why I don't give people cookies because of tweets and Black Lives Matter hashtags in their bios, because they're full of shit. And I've seen time and time again, particularly from supporting Kamala Harris, that people don't have the same energy to support Black people, particularly Black women in real life, than they do if you were to look at their profiles. You'd be like, oh, this person is so pro-Black. But then when it comes time to actually the proof, and when the proof needs to be in the pudding, ain't no goddamn pudding. It's a bunch of jello. So Drew Brees is full of shit. He should have kept all that. I'm really sick of how this is turning into a performative allyship thing by a bunch of people that are full of shit. That's why I don't care how woke you are. I don't care how long you've been an ally. I'm not giving out cookies, period. Yes, so that's Nene. That's the case that I was talking about with James Scurlock. Yes, and Gardner was instigating a situation, and this is what's crazy to me when it comes to cases with Black people. These people instigate and incite violence against Black people, and then when they defend themselves, the person who instigated the situation, which is the white person, gets to shoot that person and kill them and say self-defense. That is something seriously fucked up in that situation. Thank you, Jubilee. I don't know if I would. I don't know what courage you guys are referring to. I think I just speak my truth and that's it. But thank you, I appreciate it. Hi, Harriet. Hey, Josiah. Hi, Gervais. Did I say that right? Maze. Amy is a hot mess. Yeah. A lot of people want brownie points right now, and I don't have no cookies. I don't have no brownie points to give out to your ass. Robin, this is great news. I had looked for a GoFundMe for Breonna Taylor the other day and I didn't see it. So I guess they must have just put one up. So that's good. Her family deserves it. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with the money because I don't know if she had kids. I don't believe that she did, but I think whatever they do with it, I'm sure they'll do something worthy with that money and continue the cause because there's still a long way to go. I do not know what Joe will do. Y'all, okay, let me see. I'm going to respond to this and I'll get to another comment. I still think that there is a large white is right mentality in the Democratic Party. And so I can never have faith in a decision being made that's going to recognize the value of Black voters, that's going to recognize the value of Black women. And so for that reason, it would be very naive of me to say that I think that Joe will pick Kamala without a certainty. I still put it at 50-50, not because it merits 50-50, but only because Democrats are just as, I shouldn't say just as much, but they are very much white is right when it comes to their candidates. And so we'll see what Joe does, but he absolutely does need to pick Kamala. Unfortunately, this person is on Twitch, and I bet you zero of y'all on Twitch except for this fucking asshole. So, Base Liberty, fuck you, fuck off. How about that? Um, we do need legislation to be pushed and passed for criminal justice reform. You know, a lot of stuff, a lot of talk has been about historically how these movements, these uprisings have led to change. Like, for instance, the Civil Rights Act being passed or the Voting Rights Act being passed. There doesn't seem to be that amount of immediate appetite for that in 2020, unfortunately, because we have fucked up government that's dysfunctional. But I did see that Kamala Harris and Cory Booker are pushing some things in the Senate. There's a lot of work being done in the House as well. So I do think it's going to take a lot of legislative work, but there's also going to be a lot of pushback to that. I think that Amy was speaking just because to do damage control, like I said. Are y'all frozen? Let me see. It could be I'm trying to keep up with these comments, but maybe I'm frozen or y'all frozen. Somebody frozen. Tiger Woods could have kept it. You know what? And I'm going to get to somebody else too who also could have kept their comments. I think if y'all just, some people should just shut up. If you're not really into it, don't let these people talk you into making a statement because to check the box when your statement is going to be worthless. Just shut the hell up. How about that? Okay. That's how that game works. Let's see. I do not follow anything that Candace Owens says. She's trying to bring up George's. Okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, you know what? They always do this when it comes to Black people. They always want to make the victim out to be the perpetrator and put them on trial. And I'm not for it. I'm not for it. The police have already been acting a fool in Minneapolis, so that wouldn't be nothing new. Yep, I agree with you on that. Anybody can hashtag jail. Well, where's that energy? You know what I'm saying? I saw, like, I think somebody had mentioned yesterday that there's a surge in funding for Democratic candidates. Are you donating to Black Democratic candidates? That's what I want to see. Courtney, girl, that dog shit pissed me off. I was legitimately offended. And I know that a lot of people like to sit up there and be like, okay, hi, this toxic, or, they get all upset, acting like, nobody can have an opinion on anybody else. But, I thought that the objects of that were just very insensitive. Black people have a completely different relationship with dogs at protests, okay? It's not walking Lassie to go goddamn protest. It's a protest for life or death. It's not a stroll through the farmer's market in your local fucking neighborhood. And I just thought it was too much of a scene. It was all these reporters around. People were cheering. It's tacky as fuck to be cheering for a person like that at a march just because she was walking down the street in the middle of the street with her fucking dog. I was very offended by that. I was very offended by that. I see she went out today and did her, photo op 2.0, I guess, to try to, change the optics a little bit. But I'm just not impressed. Girl, just go sit the fuck down somewhere. I'm over her. I've always been over her, but that Lassie shit took me out. People were like, well, a lot of people on the campaign loved her dog. Well, is it about showing off her fucking dog or is it about Black Lives Matter? Because I could have sworn it's supposed to be about Black Lives Matter, not about her fucking dog. Or, oh, let's everybody pet my dog. Like, it's just, I could keep going on her ass. Thank you, Marquise. Harriet, yes, I've read so much about how police unions are really, really hindering progress. There's also police bill of rights in different states. 15 states have police bill of rights that make it harder to prosecute the police. That's irrespective of even unions. That's just the legislation in those states. Let's see. Okay, some of y'all, I've talked about Warren's photo op, so I'm not going to do that. I think that I agree with you on not getting your hopes up. But we have to keep the pressure on. We have to keep the narrative up that we want representation, period. We cannot just passively go, oh well, I don't think he's going to pick her. We have to keep the pressure up. Keep fighting back against these narratives. Keep pushing back against these smears. We are doing Kamala a great service and the country the more that we fight for Kamala. So please do that. Yes, we have to keep speaking about Breonna Taylor. I mean, I feel like I'm not the only person. I feel like there are a lot of people. Bernice King, who's Dr. King's daughter, is very much on the forefront of that. I recommend it for you guys to follow Attica Scott down in Kentucky. She represents Louisville. So there are a lot of people that are talking about it, but yeah, I do have to keep amplifying it. All right. Let's see. Let me keep going. I'm going to get to all your questions. It looks like I'm about 4 minutes behind, but I'm going to get to all your questions. Can Joe win in November? I think Joe can win. I think Joe cannot rest his laurels on Trump's approval rating. He cannot rest his laurels on he's not Trump. And so by default, that makes it better because it's still an electoral college race. And there was some polling that came out today where it was close in Pennsylvania, close in a couple other states. And so I think that Joe has to work particularly hard to make sure that he doesn't take any votes for granted. If people are disillusioned and they feel like it's not going to change either way, then people will stay home. And I think that's something that people are very much underestimating is how disillusioned people are with the system and quote unquote both parties. Because, you know, a lot of people have the mentality that, you know, it's both parties that are the problem and not just the Republicans. I agree with you. I ain't donated one red cent to Joe, and I don't plan on it until Kamala Harris is on that ticket. Period. Jason, this is a really good point. So the first autopsy on George Floyd was complete bullshit. I also read that a lot of these medical examiners don't even have like medical training or a lot of medical training. So yeah, every single time there's a case like this, Black people need to get independent autopsies because obviously the independent autopsies are going to be more accurate than what these fucking medical examiners are saying for these police departments. Yes, I do think people need to keep in mind that it's the Republicans that are obstructing justice or progress in the House and all that stuff. I talked about Warren's dog, but yeah, that was some bullshit. A lot of people were like, well, you don't bring a dog to the protest because of the dog. And I mean, I understand that, but to me, it was more about just the imagery and the history of Black people and having dogs sicked on them during civil rights protests. I mean, you also had Trump saying, release the hounds on protesters. So you just kind of have to, this is where I talk about cultural competency. Okay. You have to understand how things come across beyond just maybe what your intention is. And that's where when I talk about Kamala having the cultural competency and needing somebody with cultural competency to reach out to the Black community, that's a prime example of if you have a cultural competency of understanding the legacy of dogs at protests and how they've been brutalized or how Black people have been brutalized by them, I think you have enough sense to not bring a goddamn dog to the protest. Let's see. Charlemagne is problematic. You know, I understand people have legitimate, you know, beefs with Charlemagne, but I also think it's a matter of shooting the messenger. And I agree with a lot of what Charlemagne has said in terms of needing to earn the Black vote. I have been saying that literally all last year. I was saying that. And I think that, you know, if people don't want to hear that Joe has to earn their vote, I think that they're going to be in for a shock because the reality is you cannot take people's votes for granted. You have to earn them. And Joe has to do that, period. It doesn't matter who's saying it. The reality is Joe has to earn the Black vote. And he hasn't been polling where he needs to be with Black voters. Now, maybe that will change with these protests. People might just have a surge to Joe, like we just need to get Trump out. But I think he should be, you know, definitely working harder than what I've seen from him. Trina definitely should have kept her mouth shut. I tweeted about her. I ended up deleting the tweet because I'm like, you know what? I really have a policy of not dragging Black women, as even Black women that deserve to be dragged. I really try to not drag Black women on my page because that's not what I'm trying to be about. But Trina calling people animals. What she call them, animals and savages, and talking about she has her license and registration. and her insurance, so she's not scared of the cops, as if the people that have been killed by the cops, like Philando Castile, like Sandra Bland, like Breonna Taylor, like Tatiana Jefferson, like George Floyd, like all of these people, I can keep going on and on and on in recent history, Rakia Boyd, all these people, as if Sean Bell, that came up again today, as if all of these people just got killed because they weren't ready with their license and registration. Like, cops killing people has nothing to do with whether you're breaking the law or not, whether you have your paperwork or not. And so that was super fucking ignorant of Trina to say. She's ignorant as fuck, and I just don't have nothing else for her. Kia drag her ass alone, because I was really sickened by that, especially with what's going on right now. Don't act like you can sit up there and just be respectable enough to not get shot or killed by the police. Harriet, I agree with you. You know, there are a lot of Black Trump grifters, so it is what it is with that. All right, I'm going to scroll down some more, see if I got something. Yeah, I did not like the casualness of Warren. And you know, actually, interestingly enough, I have seen Elizabeth Warren at a protest. I went out and protested the Brett Kavanaugh Supreme Court nomination, and Elizabeth Warren was at a protest. And she gave a speech, you know, and she took it very seriously. There was no fucking Lassieing around during this speech. And so I know that she's capable of speaking out when it's something that she has the competency or that she's equipped to talk about. But it's so clear to me that when it comes to Black people, she's not equipped to really speak on those issues with any kind of authority beyond the bullet points or the speeches that are written for her. I think that the polling that shows Liz doing better with Black people is really just more a matter of name recognition. I don't think that Black people are saying, I like Warren more than Kamala. I think that Black people are saying, oh, what I know of Elizabeth Warren, I like. And people are saying, what I know of Kamala, I like. But there is a big difference in terms of name recognition. That Liz has. She had a $140 million campaign. Kamala Harris had a $35 million campaign. Elizabeth Warren was getting 1,000 mentions a week in the media. Kamala Harris was getting 130 mentions a week. Kamala Harris was getting smeared. Elizabeth Warren was not. And so there's a massive gulf in how they are treated in the media, the kind of coverage they got, the name recognition. And so that's what you're really seeing. You're not seeing Black people that are more enthusiastic about Liz, because Liz did poorly with the Black votes, and she didn't get any Black people out to her events. So, and when she had the most Black people she had at her events was Atlanta, and she got protested. So let's talk facts here. I did not hear that. That's fucked up. I was an absentee voter. So yeah. I agree, Kenny. Okay. Sherry, can you comment? What do you mean by this comment? Because I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Let's see. Keep pushing for Kamala. Yes. Let me see. I think I'm starting. Oh shit, I'm 8 minutes behind. Okay, let me see with that. Yes. You know, a lot of people K-Hive is getting targeted by Bernie Bros and other people. Shit, a lot of people get mad at the K-Hive. So yes, it's fucked up how we get targeted, but it is what it is with that. We don't die, we multiply, right? I completely disagree that it isn't about racism anymore. It's completely about racism. I don't think that the financial solvency, I think that was the rest of your comment, has anything to do with Black people being gunned down by the police or by slave patrols, these people who are self-deputizing themselves. If a UPS worker is trying to deliver a box to a person and they get detained or questioned about it, that's not financial insecurity. That's not a class issue. That's a racism issue. I don't feel any way about Steve King being booted out because the other Republicans are racist too. So I just think it's a matter of high profile racists versus the low profile racists, but it's all the same goddamn shit if you ask me. Let's see. Yes, that's all I'm saying. We have to demand, we have a right to demand something in return for our votes. Period. That's just without question. Yes, I don't know. You might have been responding to me saying Tatiana Jefferson, but yes. Let me see. I agree with this. It didn't pin. Um, so I said this yesterday, but we're gonna try to do something new with Live with the K Hive this week and try to film it live or live stream it. So tune in potentially. So we film it Fridays at 9 is when we log into the Zoom. Some people are a little late yet, it'll be on CP time, but we're gonna try to see if I can figure this shit out and so that we can live stream Live with the K Hive. It will be on my YouTube channel, it will be on my Twitter as well. And then you can go back and rewatch. Um Yeah, Mitch McConnell's a piece of shit. The Republicans have no fucking decency to ever stand up against the shit that what you call it, that Donald Trump's funky ass is doing. Did you guys see that super fucking weird photo op of him and Melania in church? Like, what is that? You know, it's really hard to convince black people that the Illuminati doesn't exist when their images like that, Gio, because they look like the goddamn Illuminati and that look like some kind of motherfucking scene out of The Purge. Anyways, let's see. All right. I think of all the smoke for Charlemagne, I mentioned it earlier, is just people shooting the messenger. That's what I think it is. Back of the bus election, I said that as well. You know, anytime somebody come for Joe, is they are attacked, even if they're making a valid point. So that's what I think about that. Brianna, yeah, whatever she talking about, she always be on some bullshit. Let's see, let's see. Okay, let me go back to this comment. Well, you don't have to accept it, but that's the reality. 50% of the country does not vote, and there's a reason for that. Some of them feel like it's because no, it doesn't make a difference who's in power. Some of them don't vote because, they don't like the candidates. There's a variety of reasons for that, but I think that at some point you have to engage people so that you can get at least, 5% of that 50% to get out and vote. Um, and so I think that's just the reality of what we have. That's the whole point of elections, is to try to get people to the polls. And so to say that people don't have to do anything but just stand there and not be Trump, I don't think that I don't think that is going to be enough. I did not watch Joe's speech yesterday. All right. Again, it has nothing to do with Joe per se. I just don't really want to hear no kumbaya shit. I don't really want to hear nothing. I just don't want to be talked at. So I'm not interested. Let's see, what does it say? I agree. Um, I don't. So the rest of this is he also keeps emphasizing choosing a black woman for SCOTUS, but no comment on VP. I do think that the whole SCOTUS thing was like a misdirection. Like, oh, let's say I'm gonna appoint a black woman Supreme Court to try to get out of black woman VP. How about we need both? How about that? I don't know. I mean, I don't. I think that Joe just has to show some receipts. I don't vouch for anybody except for Kamala Harris. That's the only person I will vouch for in this whole goddamn world when it comes to politics. But I think that he can make the case that he will be good for the black community. I do think that he will be better than Donald Trump. Do not be mistaken about that. Will he be better than Donald Trump? Absolutely. But that's on him to convince people. Let's see. I seriously doubt that there will be any consequences for that first medical examiner, to be honest with you. That may or may not be true, but I still think he made some good points. I love John Boyega. I mean, he's just giving me all the life right now. He's just unapologetically like pro-black and all this other kind of shit. Like, good for him. I absolutely love him. And I really respect what he's doing right now. Yeah, I talked about that girl. That was baby Ethernet. Sorry, not girl. But yeah, that was some fucking bullshit. Yeah, so the good thing is that the charges were dropped against Kenneth Walker, who was Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, but they are reserving the right to bring charges again. So that's still something to be concerned about, but those retaliatory charges were dropped against Kenneth Walker. Um, Z, just to let you know, Bernie Sanders will never be president, and fuck off. How about that? That is a problem. You need people to be able to go to black spaces um, to make the case. Period. I did not know about this. But that does not surprise me. I absolutely love Letitia James. I think she's a badass. And, I hope that if she ever decides to run for Senate or even president one day, they won't drag her like they did Kamala's ass because, they love you when you're not seeking power. There are a lot of these white progressives right now that are anti-Kamala that were also anti Letitia James. And you see how Letitia James is working out pretty goddamn good. Um, yes. So I'm team Letitia or Tish. Thank you. Let's see. Wendy's situation. What is Wendy's situation? I have no idea what that's referring to. So you're going to have to let me know. All right. Yes, Kamala Harris chose to work in the system because the system needed changes, period. I don't know how we sit up there and we drag black people for getting in the system. What the fuck? So we need to have 100% white prosecutors, 100% white cops, 100% white police chiefs. I'm trying to figure out how that's gonna solve any goddamn thing. All right. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll through. Sorry, I'm like 6 minutes behind. So yes, I do recall all of the white anxiety, economic anxiety shit that they talked about to try to excuse the people fucking voting for Trump, even though he's a racist or because he's a racist. Um, I did see some of that Zoom stuff. It was crazy. They were cussing them motherfuckers out, but it seemed like the LAPD was like, "Girl, fuck you," right back to them. So I'm sure it was cathartic for people to, get that off their chest. But will it have any changes? No. But I still respect people speaking their opinion because it's never not a good idea. It's never. I would never say don't say anything because it won't make a difference because you never know. It's not inevitable that it won't make a difference. Let's see. I like Val Demings as a congresswoman. Kamala Harris needs to be VP, though. That's what I have to say about Val Demings. Let's see. Voting is a starting point. Absolutely. You have to keep it's a multi-pronged approach to change. Kamala Harris said that it's not a silver bullet, but it does go a long way. Let's see. Keep going. I agree. I agree with that. In the Electoral College. I don't know. Are they really in disbelief? Because I feel like people have known America ain't shit for a while, especially under Trump. What does this mean? Can you elaborate, Courtney? Both. I agree. I know I said that, so you probably disagreeing with me. Yes, there was some good national polling for Biden. Some troubling state by state polling for him though. So I think he still has work to do. All right. Let's see. Yes. I think that Democrats have to stop looking at black people and saying, "Thank you, next. You gave us the majority. That's all we need from you." That's why I'm emphasizing why we need to have representation and a seat at the table. All right, all right. I'm gonna wrap this up. I know President Obama is coming up soon, so I want to wrap this up. See if I can catch up to the questions. Um, I have seen some. I don't really follow Ileana Mar too closely, but I have seen her make comments on some of the stuff. So Wendy's. Oh, Wendy's donated to Trump re-election. I don't fuck with Wendy's. Wendy's make my stomach hurt, so I don't fuck with them anyway. Let's see. Does anybody live in New York? Has anybody been protesting in New York? These reports out of New York are just so disturbing, and I think that's where it goes back to, why people can't look at what's happening as an automatic win for the Democrats, because New York has a Democratic mayor, has a Democratic governor, and I'm not holding Cuomo culpable for what's happening with the NYPD, but do you still see cases where even in these Democratic cities, the LAPD has Democratic leadership? You still have racism. Atlanta, Democratic leadership. And so that's where I think that people really can't just rest their laurels on, like, people are pissed, Donald Trump is going to get voted out. You have to make the case as to why your leadership will make the difference. Let's see. I don't agree with this. I think Dr. King's methods absolutely did help. I mean, the Montgomery bus boycott helped. Dr. King definitely made a lot of things, made a lot of progress. I think that I don't think that there's any reason to pit them against each other or to diminish either one of their legacies. But but what I will say is I'm not quick to condemn so-called, violence when it comes to these things, just because the police are the ones instigating it, and sometimes fucking some shit up get some stuff accomplished. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying I'm not going to be the one to wag my finger at it. Let's see. All right. Kenny, I wholeheartedly agree with this. I think that Kamala being in the race, it's kind of like, how like when Hillary was running, it was like, well, I don't like Hillary, but I will vote for Warren. It's like the same exact thing with Kamala. It's like whenever there's a woman that's seeking power, she always kind of opens up the door for other people to be named that might not otherwise be named, right? So I think that Kamala is a trailblazer, and a lot of Black women definitely are part of the conversation because Kamala Harris ran her campaign. That's just an objective fact. And I would really respect any of those women if they came out and said, you know what, I appreciate the campaign that Kamala Harris run, and acknowledge that. I haven't seen anybody do that. But I tell you what, if Kamala is not the Black woman that's picked, that acknowledgement needs to be made by whoever is the Black woman in order for me to not side eye the fuck out of her. Let's see. No, I'm not concerned about that at all. If being VP was going to be somebody's political graveyard, then you wouldn't have some people trying to be VP. I agree with this. Am I nervous about tomorrow? What is tomorrow? Is there something I'm supposed to be nervous about? Y'all let me know. I haven't heard a whole lot from Stacey recently. I just think that, she kind of did a blitz, and the thing about blitzes is they're hard to maintain that momentum. So, yes. Okay, I see people. My daughter lives 1 out for. Yep. Okay. How is she doing? Cop culture is racist. Ain't that true? Y'all report this person if you're on YouTube, please. Fuck you, Captain Underpants. Let's see. All right. Sorry, I'm slow scrolling. Might be 5 y'all left. Oh, okay. I don't know. Where are you guys having to go to? Oh, okay. I got you, Courtney. Yes. There are a lot of issues in the school system. And we have to hold teachers accountable as well. There's over policing in the schools. I saw that the Minneapolis school district cut ties with the Minneapolis PD. That's fine, but what are you replacing it with? Are they going to be held to any kind of standards? Are you going to replace it with people that are going to de-escalate? Or are you going to replace it with people who are going to continue to militarize our schools or police our schools and to keep that school to prison pipeline going? So, yeah. Let's see. I actually think, interestingly enough, that Stacey, I think there's going to be a lot more competition for governor in 2022, right? So I mean, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is getting a lot more higher profile. That might be something she might be considering. There are other people in the state that might be considering something like that. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up because I know Obama's coming up soon, and I am at the end of the questions. So let me see. My thoughts are Kamala Harris needs to be vice president. One thing I will say about Susan Rice, I try not to drag any of these black women. I don't prefer them over Kamala, obviously, and I'm not interested in advocating for them because I'm only interested in advocating for Kamala. That's a person I've done all my research on. That's a person that I strongly and loyally support. But I did appreciate her tweet where she misspelled Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery's name. I was like, what the fuck? You couldn't even bother to Google their names or spell check it? I thought that was really tacky. And I think Susan has a lot of Benghazi problems. I do not look forward to hearing Susan Benghazi. If Susan fucking Rice, I shouldn't say Susan fucking Rice. If Susan Rice is selected as VP. So like just go ahead and select Kamala and call it a day. Because that's who it needs to be. All right. I think how you watch Obama at 5, I think he's going to be live streaming it on his website, but I'm sure that other people will be kind of rebroadcasting it as well. So, all right, y'all, that's been about 40 minutes for me. So I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. I feel like I'm starting to kind of get the hang of this a little bit, but I'm still testing it out. I appreciate you guys for being my guinea pigs. I do want to incorporate inviting people onto it, but I have no idea how that works. So I'm going to figure that out because I want to talk to some people who probably have better explanations on some shit than I do. Hey, Heather. Thank you all for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow. I have Roland tomorrow at 6 p.m. So if I can not be a fucking high herp, I don't know. You're asking, can I see? I don't know. That's about to be a good thing, Chia, because some of y'all on this Twitch stuff be crazy. But if I cannot procrastinate, I'll try to get on here at 5. If President Obama is not beating me to the punch. Hey, Melanie and Joey and everybody else. If I didn't say hi, it's not because I didn't want to. I just maybe missed your comment. But yes, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.